Yo, what's going on guys? Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise, and today I want to talk about 9 moves that are missing from the Monster Hunter Rise demo based on what we have seen in trailers. Now, to be very clear, before I go any further, I am not talking about anything data mined. I have not looked at that. I do not care about data mines. I wait until Uncle Capcom drops a brand new trailer so that I can see stuff and get excited about it. And with that being said, in the trailers we have seen so far, across the 3 trailers that were released so far, we have seen 9 moves that did not make an appearance in the demo. And thus, as a result of that, it's fair to speculate there will be more Silkbind moves per weapon, and one of them actually alludes to potentially different ways to use weapons, maybe even outside of Silkbind moves. So in this video, I want to showcase what those 9 are and talk about what it might mean for the full game. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know what you guys hope to see, and of course keep it locked for plenty more ongoing Rise coverage. So to begin with, from one of the very early trailers, in fact the very first trailer, we have the Longsword ground counter, as I can kind of describe it. Obviously in the demo, we have a counter in the form of the sort of silk bug spiderweb lattice that you can kind of create, which of course then gives you the ability to follow into a counter attack. But this one is much more akin to other weapons we've seen. One of those ones where you basically fire your wire bug forwards, you pull yourself towards the monster or in that general direction, you get some kind of invulnerability frames in the process, and assuming you get hit, you then have some kind of follow-up counter. We of course see the Longsword doing this, slicing through the target as it goes. So this one is not in the demo, because of course the Longsword currently has the launcher, which goes into the Helmbreaker, which I feel like is going to be a staple for everybody, and it also has the 2 wirebug cost expensive counter. Moving on from there, we have a similar move for the Gunlance. This is the one that we saw where, again, you throw your wirebug forwards, you pull yourself towards it, you do appear to be able to block an incoming attack as you are initiating this. You have some invulnerability, and you then follow up again as a counter move. This one is rather convenient because it also turns you around at the end of the move itself, so it puts you in prime position to follow up with some shelling attacks, some poking attacks, whatever you want to do. However, on the topic of Gunlance, I do want to talk again about the move in the most recent trailer, this rocket move. Now, this one is interesting because we don't see any Silkbinds present. Typically, if we see any moves that do use wirebugs, so they're considered Silkbind moves, you do, even if it's very brief, see some kind of silk cable attached to the hunter. This one we don't. So it begs the question, what exactly is this? This is not something you can do in the demo. You can't charge up your Wyvern Fire and then press some kind of magical input to switch your Gunlance behind you as like a rocket propeller. So that leads me to believe that there are either A, some Silkbind moves that just don't showcase wires, or B, maybe there are different ways to use the weapons, which could imply that some of the weapons that we say have tested out and said, oh, it doesn't feel like they've got new combos, maybe they do have new combos, but we just haven't yet seen them in action. That would be incredibly cool, and that may well answer the question as to why some of the weapons feel quite familiar or quite similar, because maybe they just haven't showcased everything there is to know. You know, if you think back to when we played through Generations, you had to play through the village quest and some of the other quests to unlock things like Hunter Arts, so it might well be there's stuff we can unlock for weapons which expands on that, which would be incredibly exciting. Either way, whatever it is, I know that Gunlance, I definitely want to play Gunlance. I feel like I'm going to start by maining Sword and Shield and Gunlance as I play through the story, and I definitely just want to be like an anime rocket-propelled hunter, because who doesn't want to just fire yourself into battle? You guys can probably guess that when it comes to choosing moves for me, I don't think about practical, I think about what's crazy, what's badass, because that's all that matters. Anyway, moving on from there, we then have the Tokyo Drift move for the light bowgun. We've of course seen this one before, where you put your, you kind of throw your Silkbind out, you throw out your wirebug, and you basically use it as an anchor point to slide around for insane mobility, great evasive potential, and also just a great chance to move and shoot. The interesting thing about this one is that because it uses it like an anchor point, it technically keeps your distance from the anchor point the same. So when you factor in a weapon like the bowgun, that of course has critical distance, you know, an ideal distance that you should fire your bullets, this could still allow you to maintain that optimal distance from the monster. Then, in a very similar manner to some of the earlier ones, we again have another one of those counter moves. This one is for the Lance. This one sees you drag yourself forwards through, sort of like drilling your way through enemies, and you then immediately turn around and go back from whence you came. So this one, again, you know, seems to give you some invulnerability frames, attacks along the way, and of course this has a double motion to it, the sort of forward and backward attack. So I can see that being potentially quite useful for maybe applying status effects, assuming this does sort of multiple hits, kind of like the charge attack. If you do it on like a monster, whether you can quite literally pull yourself through the monster and back could be quite interesting. Next up on the list, we actually have one of the more sort of offensive moves for the Insect Glaive. Of course, in the demo, the Insect Glaive moves are both really more so for repositioning, one that pulls you forwards, one that sends you backwards. However, there is of course that one that is the sort of plunging thrust downwards. It is a little bit of a cheat that they put it on a Silkbind move, because that used to be something you could do for free in Iceborne, but regardless, this is definitely one of the more attack-focused Silkbind moves we've seen for Insect Glaive. I mentioned in the Insect Glaive video, I sincerely hope there are some more kind of ground-focused attacks for Insect Glaive too. But regardless, this is one of the ones that are missing. Then moving on from there, we also have one for the Switch Axe. This is the sort of rise and dive move. We of course see this one where you take your Switch Axe seemingly in sword mode. Whether it can also be done in axe mode, again, will remain to be seen. But you launch yourself into the sky and then you sort of pile drive or sort of plunge your way down in a sort of diagonal nature towards the monster. This looks incredibly cool. Of course, the ones in the demo are much more focused on sort of movement and keeping your sword gauge charged. So again, it's nice to sort of see some, some status, some kind of utility-focused skills, as well as some offensive attack-focused skills too. Then finally, in the most recent trailer, we of course got the new move for the bow, where we see it quite literally launch itself up into the sky, firing arrows down, and it then follows up with a down stab. Quite whether that is the entire Silkbind move, or whether, say, the aerial shots are the Silkbind, followed by just a regular melee down stab, will of course remain to be seen, but that was also a brand new move. So, as you can see, there are 9 moves that have been officially shown by Capcom in their trailers that have not made their way into the demo. So, that of course goes to show there is more to each of the weapons than we've had a chance to go hands-on with. So if there's any weapons that you are potentially messing around with and you're like, it's not really doing it for me, don't worry, it might do it for you when the full game comes out. Anyway, that's it for the time being. Again, as and when they drop more trailers and we get to see more moves, I'll of course keep you guys up to date. We've got plenty more videos coming later on this week, so do not miss those. We've also taken a look at all 14 weapons now in the demo, so if you want to check out our previews for those and sort of see what's new, what's changed and all that good stuff, check those out on the channel, and again, keep it locked for plenty more. If you want to catch more from us at Arekkz Gaming, don't forget you can catch the guys TwoSixNine, Paradise Central and Investmore streaming over on Twitch weekdays, playing a variety of games. If you guys want to jump in, tune in, watch and even join in, then make sure you check them out. The links to those are in the description box down below, and of course you can join the Discord to get involved in all of the discussions.